is Laura Myers. She is my friend's grandma. She has 3 kids and 8 grandkids. What does faith in a higher power mean to you?
Well, before I answer that question, I'm going to ask you a question. Did you devise these questions, or
No,
everybody has
we have
the
same questions.
Okay. That's what I had a feeling about
Yeah.
it, because it was very hard for me to answer that question, because I think it doesn't relate as much to Judaism as it relates to other religions. And when I thought about it, I thought that really in Judaism, we really have a code of conduct, and we have the 10 Commandments, and we all try to live our lives that way. But what is applicable to other religions isn't necessarily applicable to Judaism, because we're really a tribal religion. And our customs come from many centuries, and they have evolved over time, so that we really have, I think, a very high code of conduct. But what we're doing is creating family and community, and that our home and what we do with our family is very important to us, as well as having formal observances in synagogues. But it's a little bit different to relate that to a higher power, because to us, the Torah was handed down, and the 10 Commandments were handed down, but we really think about the way we live our lives, and that's the most important thing. We have very definite high morals and values, and that we have a whole way of living. We don't focus so much on belief as we do about living a good life. And one of the most important things, I think, of the performances of mitzvot, of doing good deeds for other people. And
why do you think it's important to have religious or faith in one's life?
I think it's important, as I mentioned before, to have religion in your way of life, because it helps you to, it sets a pattern for the way you live. And in Judaism, the pattern is really set by the 10 Commandments, and by observing various deeds, helping the needy, helping brides, helping the bereaved, just doing good deeds like that, and also, most importantly, is studying and learning more. So I think that it helps you to have a pattern in your life to help you raise a family, to help improve the world, to have a good outlook on life. And I think that just having these guidelines are interesting, but in our certain part of Judaism, what's important is, then what makes it more relevant is that things have changed over time, and people are, the rabbis have been more open to things like homosexuality, to things like rules of what observance, what you can and can't do, because life has changed. And certainly in the Bible we read some bad things about stoning people and doing some bad things, and that is not necessarily part of our life now. And I think it helps you to live a better kind of life.
What do you think was the most significant event of your faith life, and why?
Well, one of the most significant events is going to happen in 3 weeks, and that event is going to be the bat mitzvah of our youngest grandchild, which will mean that we have had all the bar and bat mitzvahs of all 8 of our grandchildren. And more importantly, the tradition in my own family, my parents had 15 great-grandchildren. It will be the 15th bar bat mitzvah of all of those grandchildren from that branch of the family. And I think carrying on that tradition and the understanding of continuity of these traditions that started long ago and have evolved over time is really, really important. One of the things in our life, married life, is that our family is so important to us, and we think that that kind of event, the expectation that we can have this kind of continuity of our family is important, and faith is really believing that there's evidence that there's an expectation of things that can not. It's important to perform these mitzvot, and it's possible that bad things happen to good people, but as we've read in Rabbi Kushner's book, but the possibility of passing on the way religion has been practiced for many years is important. And so I can't name one real event that changed my life other than the fact that I realized that each event is significant and it adds to the whole picture.
What do you wish someone would have told you about life when you were my age?
I think I would have, I think I was told this, but I wasn't told it as such, but I observed it, that family, as I think I'm repeating a lot of the same things, family is really important. And that to celebrate together as a family and doing good things for other people is really an important aspect of life. And I think that what I did is I observed how that was carried on in my own family, and although it wasn't, I heard family is really important, I think it was nurtured in a way that I was able to understand and make a decision as an adult what way I was going to go. I think that
If that's it, that's fine.
Yeah.
What words of wisdom would you like to share with me today?
Well, I have a couple of things. One is that Jim and I have always not instructed, but shared with our children, with our boys, that there are two things that are really important in life, and that people look at you and talk about you that way, is that you show up on time, and you also say what you do what you say you're going to do, and people will will know that you're setting a pattern and how you're going to live your life. And it's a pretty basic thing. It's pretty simple. But if you do these things, you'll separate yourself from other people, because probably 90% of the people in this country don't do that kind of thing. So we think that's I agree with Jim. We talked about this a lot. And the other thing I would tell you is that there are many needs in this community, and I think young people should assume leadership roles and learn how the community operates. This is both in the religious community and the community in general, because we are really in need of strong leadership. I think it's lacking right now. So I think you should think about that in your own life and become a leader. And you should definitely help out the needy in our community by volunteering. You don't necessarily have to give money all the time. Sometimes you can do it in volunteering and making others aware of these needs. And that you should share your values with other people, because you'll then connect with those kinds of people that are important to you. And on a kind of religious side, I would suggest to a teenager today to set aside Shabbat or a day of the week to do things differently than you do the rest of the week. To turn off the internet, to put your phone away, and just kind of plug into yourself, to reading, to doing other things, fun things, not necessarily in the most strict religious style, but that you should do that. And I think you should that you should have pride in your inheritance. I think that's really important. And I also hope that you find a partner that's also shares these values with you, and that would help to make a really better life for everybody. And I could go on and on because I'm always telling my children what I think and what they should do, but those are some of the important values, I think.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this and doing this.
You're welcome.